What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing another player that could potentially be, I guess, a prospect for the Chicago Bulls. It is definitely a player that a lot of people have been very interested in for quite some time, and his name is Jonathan Kuminga from the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people want this player to be a Chicago Bulls player. Can we make it work? What type of moves can we do to make sure that this is a prospect that could land in our laps, can land with the Chicago Bulls in the near future? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about that and more in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and how do you see us progressing with a deal like this. And I guess the key answer or the key question here as well is, do you think this is a possible deal for the Chicago Bulls to make? So without further ado, let us get started. So basically, the way that I view it, at least, I'm sure there could be many other ways we could do this. I think technically we could afford a Jonathan Kuminga on this team, assuming we don't re-sign Josh Giddey, or we don't extend Kobe White, or even Ayo Dosunmu, which we still need big decisions on. But the way that I see it, the only real option for the Bulls to make this happen is a potential sign and trade situation which revolves around Nikola Vucevic. Speaking of, Nikola Vucevic is someone that's on the trade block. The Golden State Warriors probably do need another center on the team. I'm sure we're going to have to throw in more assets because, let's be honest, Vucevic is not going to be enough for the Golden State Warriors, and Kuminga is a very valuable asset in return. But that's kind of where I see the picture going with a Jonathan Kuminga to the Chicago Bulls. It would have to be a sign and trade with Nikola Vucevic. Obviously, he'd be the ones that's being traded to us, and we're going to have to give up Nikola Vucevic in that trade. So, can that happen? Well, here's the thing about Jonathan Kuminga, right? He is a restricted free agent, so in 2025, he is going to be a player that many teams can go after. Many small market teams that feel like he could be the next big thing for their team. Many contending teams who feel like in the right environment, he could help them win a championship. Or a team like us that's in the middle of the road that could probably think he can make us a playoff team. He can make us go and contend for something. Because he's shown enough glimpses, in my opinion, to be able to prove he's a good player that can take the next step. From all we've heard with Jonathan Kuminga with the Golden State Warriors, it's that he was being held back by Steve Kerr's system, held back by the head coach, held back by the players around him. That's all we've heard in the Jonathan Kuminga situation. I am personally not going to be the person to tell you one thing or another. I don't watch enough of the Golden State Warriors to tell you he's being held back, or maybe this is the level that he's playing at and this is the player that he's going to be. But trust me when I tell you, there's going to be more than one team that's going to be willing to take that risk and hope that Jonathan Kuminga was being held back by the Golden State Warriors and that he can be a big piece in a very, very, I guess, competitive team. That's what you'd have to assume many teams are going to be looking out for. So I don't think this is a one-legged race for the Chicago Bulls. I really don't. And I do think we're going to have to offer quite a bit in order to get this done. But with that being said, what type of money are we talking about here? Well, Golden State's, at this point in time, are very, very, very much, I guess, a team that is heavily capped out, really. They've signed Jimmy Butler to a big extension for 2 years. They've signed Stephen Curry for 2 years. They signed Draymond Green for 2 years. They basically are capped out for the next 2 years. And adding a guy like Nikola Vucevic is only going to add fuel to that fire. It's going to put them in another cap situation that I don't personally think they can afford themselves with. So Nikola Vucevic, in my opinion, with Jonathan Kuminga doesn't make much sense financially. I don't see how the Golden State Warriors can pull something like that off. I don't see them paying $20 million to Nikola Vucevic, even if it's an expiring deal. And with that being said, yes, I think we can afford Jonathan Kuminga if we do that sign and trade. Obviously, we would have to extend him, probably 20, 25 million. There's potential for that to be more, but considering the fact he didn't play for half a season this season, you're looking at probably around 20 to 25 million. I don't think you're going to get him for less than that unless no one is interested in Jonathan Kuminga. So a lot of interesting variables there. I think Golden State, look, financially, I don't know if they can pull it off. I just don't think they will pull it off. I just don't think they'll take that risk. But there's no shadow of a doubt that they do probably need another center there. They do need a big man in that team. They've been playing small ball for so long, and I know the small ball works for them more times than not, but to have the extra layer to their team, an extra layer to their offense and or defense, it could be very valuable to them. They might be able to thrive with a bigger man on their team. Maybe Nikola Vucevic is the answer there. I really do not know. But what do you get with a Jonathan Kuminga? Well, ultimately, you get a power forward that is tremendously good when it comes to the offensive end, especially when it comes to his athletic ability and his ability to drive to the rim. Very, very good in that department. He's someone that has proven that when he does have a little bit of responsibility offensively, he can go and get you a bucket, which is fantastic. And we don't have many forwards like that. I mean, the only forward we really have like that is Matas Buzelis, and he's a rookie, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll speak about that later, because I think that's a big reason for my answer when what I'm going to give towards the end of the video. But you can most certainly do well with a Jonathan Kuminga on your team. You can most certainly get extra layers of offense. He's a relatively okay defender as well. He's pretty solid on that area too. And he is definitely a valuable piece. He does have weaknesses. From what I've seen, his free throw percentage isn't great. 66%. From what I saw, he averaged around 15 points per game this season, by the way. His three-point shooting wasn't great this season, but it has been okay in other seasons. I think he shot like 30% this season from three, which isn't great. So I would say his perimeter offense needs improvement for sure, but still, someone that you could definitely rely on the offensive end, and someone that I don't think takes away from this team, but does indeed add to this team. So, should the Chicago Bulls do this? I think there are multiple layers. First and foremost, I'm just going to say this now, I don't think the Warriors do this. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. So the hype for Jonathan Kuminga could die very much right there, because I don't see the Warriors doing this whatsoever. But let's just play hypothetical here. Let's say the Warriors are down to take that financial risk and are down to pay Nikola Vucevic $20 million for a season and hope that that player can help them win a championship in their system. There's no doubt he works in their system in my eyes. Vucevic is a fantastic playmaker. Ability to shoot the ball from three was at an all-time high this season, and he's good in the post. He's good in the pick and pop. He's going to make Stephen Curry's job a lot easier offensively for sure as well with their pick and roll game. It makes sense. It really, really does in that regard. But I just don't think they're going to pull the trigger on something financially that big. Should the Bulls do it though? Look, I have skepticisms there. First off, let's just say we do it. That means the Bulls must. It's an absolute must. Sign a center or draft a center when it's in the NBA draft or free agency. It has to happen. There's no sugarcoating it. If you trade Nikola Vucevic, you're going to need a big man in this team. Jalen Smith and Zach Collins will not be enough in order to take this team to the next level. We are going to have to sign or draft a big man for the future. So if the Bulls are persistent on doing that, that's the first problem out of the way. The second problem is the financial risk for the Bulls. You give this guy 20-25 million. Yes, he may be able to take the next step. You're putting a lot of risks in him elevating his game with the Chicago Bulls team. But that leaves other guys like Josh Giddey and like Kobe White. One of them is probably not going to stay if you do a move like that. Are you willing to get one of those guys to leave this team in order to bring in a Jonathan Kuminga? That's another issue. If your answer is yes, well, that's the second problem done right there. The third problem I have is that will getting a player like this hurt Matas Buzelis' developments? Now, you might say, well, look, of course, you're worrying about development, but Kuminga's still a young player. He can, of course, develop in his own right. That's all fine and good. But what I view as Matas Buzelis is a potential star in this league, or at least at the bare minimum, an all-star. If he gets the right minutes and the right circumstances around him. His first season showed a lot, especially towards the end. He could be a big player in this league. Do you want to stunt that development to get another player that plays in a very similar position? If you think there's a way that we could get the both to work together, maybe it's Buzelis could play small forward, Kuminga could play power forward. If you think that could work, well, then there's your third problem done right there. If you truly believe all three of those things can be non-factors, then you should absolutely go for Jonathan Kuminga. I still think the Warriors won't do it. And that's why I feel like this is not necessarily a topic of discussion we should be discussing longer term, besides this video, of course, because I had to make a video. What do you guys think? Am I stupid? I mean, there's a high possibility of that. I mean, I'm sure if you did tests on this brain right here, you know, there might be some glimpses of stupidity in there. But I don't know. Like, I'm sure the Warriors probably could afford this in the sense of, you know, they're already paying the luxury tax. I'm pretty sure they're in the second thresholds of their team, but their team's not going to be around long enough for them to really hurt them in the long run. I'm sure it's possible mathematically. I mean, I don't know the financial side of things that well in the NBA, but would they do that? I just don't know. I really don't know. Ideally for me, if we could find a way to keep Kobe White and Josh Giddey, and we can add in a Kuminga and draft a center, and you play Matas Buzelis alongside of that, that looks like a team that I could be very proud of. Like, in hindsight, that could be something that could make me very, very happy. But we know with the new rules and regulations in place, which is something I've been learning a little bit more about, that's probably not going to happen. You're not going to be able to keep all those guys together for a long period of time. Someone's going to have to go. Maybe multiple people are going to have to go if you do a move like this. It hurts, but that's the reality. So yeah, maybe Kobe White could be the one to go if we can't give him the right money. If he doesn't want to stay on a shorter, I guess, on a team friendlier deal, which he's already taken in the first place. It's the same with Io, and Josh Giddey's already seeking $30 million. There's too many decisions. I just don't know if the Bulls are going to go all in on something like this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.